And I did have a client come in for DUI and, told me flat out from the beginning, look here, little missy, I don't care what the judge or anybody else says, I'm gonna continue to drink because that is the only thing that helps me with my symptoms. And he had chronic PTSD. And we went through and we did this session, and his particular trauma was from Vietnam, so it had been a lot of years, and he had watched his best friend be killed in front of him. He got there just a second too late, and his friend was shot in front of him, and he did kill the enemy, but for him, that was horrifying that he just, that split-second difference. And he carried his friend for days out of the jungle.
Like literally over his back?
Yep, carrying him over his back. His unit was like, you've got to leave him behind. And he's like, I'm not putting him down. I'm not putting him down. And I just looked at him and I was like, you've been carrying him for over 40 years. I just asked him if it would be okay if we honored his friend in a different way and got rid of his last worst moment so that we could remember him for the best of who he was. And I just said, if he was sitting here with me today and you were the one that was gone, would you want him carrying the weight of all that pain? And he was like, God, no. I'm like, well, then would it be okay if we give him back that gift of remembering him for who he was, like all the shenanigans and all the things you guys got into? And he was like, oh yeah. And, got very tearful, but he was like, okay, I think I can do that. And so we went through and we processed out that scene and all that, horrifying sensation. And he replaced that with his actual memories, like, of he and his friend, I'm not going to say it because they could have gotten in a lot of trouble, but, some of the things that they got into, they made makeshift slides and they rode those down the hill into a river. And, so he's recounting these stories to me.
Fun times.
Yes. And at the end of the session, he looked at me and he got really tearful and he's like, you have no idea what you've just done, Doc. I'm like, I'm not a doc. And he just said, I feel like I've been given the gift of my friend back, because he could remember him for all of the good memories. They just came flooding back, but he wasn't seeing that last worst image anymore because we had erased that out and replaced it.
Talk about freedom.
Yes. And it was the first time, he had chronic insomnia. He wasn't sleeping. And so after that session, I checked in for sleep. And he said for the first time in over 40 years, he slept through the night.